What's up, everyone? Playing Vintage Cube again today. There's about 2 days left before this cube goes down, so I'm hoping to record 1 or 2 more videos. This pack feels a little bit weak just for a first pick. I would maybe like Polluted Delta or Treachery or Ignoble Hierarch. I think Treachery is not as good as it used to be in the cube. We've basically just had like 2 or 3 years of threats getting stronger and faster, and so I think that makes the reactive cards a bit worse. So I'll just take the land. It's also kind of a function of like part of why Treachery is good is that it's a free spell, but you have to get to 5 mana first, but then it's basically free. And so it combos with other expensive cards, but you don't want to have expensive cards in your deck. They're just not among the best cards. So it just has some things working against it, basically. Now looking at this pack, I could take Hallowed Fountain because I could fetch it. Entomb is like the strongest power level card here. It's a little bit early to take Entomb because a lot of people like to force Reanimator. There's no guarantee that you're going to get the support cards, even though Entomb is the single most important card for the archetype. But I think I can take it here because the rest of the pack is very weak. There's just like a good land and maybe Gitaxian Probe. Yeah, it's another weak pack. So there are some Reanimator cards, Putrid Imp and Crypt Breaker. I think Crypt Breaker is too slow. I just don't really think it's playable in any deck. Putrid Imp I don't love because that like puts you into the all-in Reanimator style deck, and I'll play that deck, but I'm not going to try to move into it super early because there's just a really high chance it doesn't work out, and then you just have a Putrid Imp, which is a worthless pick. So there are some generically good cards. I like Braids a lot, and I might just take that here. I think it's actually just really good against control decks and even combo decks. Like if you can make a combo deck sacrifice a land before they go off, a lot of times they're just going to be dead. The other good cards are like Primeval Titan, but I'm just going to stay in black. So we're still seeing good black cards. I like Duress a lot. I'll play it in my main deck basically always. It's just so important to see your opponent's hand and see what they're doing and break up their combos in this format. And Shallow Grave is okay. I'll play it in some versions of the deck, but I don't think it's one of the best reanimate cards. And then Fallen Shinobi's okay. I don't like Ancestral Vision in this deck because usually you want to cast your black spells on the first turn or two, so you really can't afford to use a blue mana on turn 1, and if you're not using Ancestral Vision on turn 1, you're probably not really using the card very well. Still seeing the black, not seeing much blue, but that's fine. We can just play mono black, and I actually like both of the black cards, Toxic Deluge and Bitter Blossom. I mostly like Bitter Blossom because it's really good with Braids. It just gives you a creature to sacrifice each turn. And then Bitter Blossom is randomly good against control decks, but otherwise I think this card is actually too slow for the format, and I generally do not play it. It's also fairly replaceable as a card that is good with Braids. There's Bloodghast, there's Hangerback Walker, there's a lot of 2-drops or 3-drops Ophiomancer that go well with Braids. So this is kind of a tough pick, honestly. I'm going to take the Toxic Deluge. I think it's a little less replaceable, and Bitter Blossom could even wheel. Even though there's not that many cards in that pack, it could definitely wheel. So the black decks really benefit from going heavy black. You can kind of see that in cards like Dauthi Voidwalker. You really want to cast this on turn 2. You need to have double black. It's really hard to splash in these decks, but I will do it sometimes. I don't love this new Nashi Ninja. I think it's a little weak. So we'll just keep taking the black cards. Reanimator looks relatively open. Christ would be an okay splash, and I can play like a green-black mid-range Reanimator deck. Usually these decks you want to play blue as your secondary color because it gives you some good controlling cards and discard outlets, but there's actually so many good discard outlets in other colors, and stuff like Grist actually mills stuff for you, so I'm going to take the Grist. It goes with Braids, and it goes with my Reanimator theme, and it's just a Planeswalker that's very good on its own, so I like that. Now we get both of the green discard outlets in one pack, so I'll speculate on Survival of the Fittest. I don't really like playing Bone Shredder, so Survival lets you discard cards, put them right into your graveyard, and then fetch like the best reanimate target out of your deck and then put it in your graveyard, kind of like in Tomb. Hero's Downfall has wheeled from the pack that we opened. And there's also Thragtusk, which will be very good against decks like Mono Red. So I'll just take the Thragtusk. It's the less replaceable effect. It looks like 5 color is probably open. No one took any of these lands. That's very surprising. I can't really use any of these cards, so I'll just take the land. The dual land, that is. And I guess I could take Vindicate to maybe splash, but I'll just take Crypt Breaker. I do think it's a little bit too slow. Mentor, this is like a card you could possibly splash. It's really strong. So white looks pretty open. Nashi Wield. Yeah, black and white are the most open colors. I don't usually like splashing white in this deck, though. It doesn't really help the Reanimator theme. Someone definitely might be in blue-black Reanimator because I did not wheel the Shallow Grave or the Necromancy. So I might just be going like green-black Braids for this archetype. Okay, so there's 2 Mox in here. I do have to take one. I guess I'll take the blue one. It's almost like I would be more likely to splash red because I know blue is not that open, but there's a chance I can open Ancestral, Recall, or Time Walk, and I'll basically be forced to play those cards. So I'll just go with the Sapphire. Now we get past Oko, which is pretty much the best Planeswalker in the cube, and I have some blue fixing, so I can play it. It's definitely going to make my like Reanimator theme a little bit harder to pull off, playing these extra colors. But I have a Polluted Delta and a Mox Sapphire. The second best card for me to take would be something like Collective Brutality, which has a good chance of wheeling, or Sundering Titan, or something pretty weak. So yeah, I'm just going to take Oko. There's a lot of good cards in this pack. Ashiok is okay, although I'm kind of like set on that 3-drop Planeswalker spot, and I like these 2 ones better. I do like Confidant in pretty much any black deck. I also like it with Braids because you can just sacrifice it if it starts to become too costly in life. And then Strip Mine is just a great card. It's still pretty early, and it kind of goes well with Braids because you can attack their mana in 2 ways. And I am in green. I believe I saw Life from the Loam 2 packs ago. There's also Dark Ritual, which is really good in the mono black deck, but so that one's not for us because I have all these other colors. So I'm just going to take the Strip Mine, and maybe I'll wheel one of these black cards. Strip Mine's definitely not going to wheel. This is a really late Palace Jailer. Seeing a lot of really powerful cards in off colors. Skyclave Shade kind of works with Braids, but it's a little costly. You have to pay 2 mana to cast it out of your graveyard on the landfall trigger. Nissa is just an amazingly powerful card, but I don't think I'm going to be that heavy green to play it. And then there's Vampire Hexmage, which I could combo with Dark Depths if I see that. I don't think we're a Chrome Mox deck because we don't have the card draw. I feel like Hexmage is probably the best upside here. Now I could take a land here. This one's pretty weak. I don't really want to pay extra life in the black deck generally. You have so many effects that already cost you life. Then there's Gonti, which is just like a very solid mid-range card. I'll just take the Gonti. Volcanic Island doesn't really help us that much. I'm avoiding red so far. Pack Rat is okay. It's good against some slow decks, or it's randomly good against combo decks because it is a fast clock. And I do have a Mox, which does make it better. Turn 1 Pack Rat is pretty good. So yeah, I just have to take that here. There's really not much else. So the black has dried up a little bit in this pack. There's still, yeah, blue is just absolutely not open. But I can still probably play the Oko. It's probably just going to be the only blue card. I suppose green is not that open either. I would like to get some mana fixing. There's not a great pick here, really. I guess I'll take Terastodon. Okay, Bloodghast. This is a Braids enabler that I actually like because on landfall, it comes directly from the graveyard into the battlefield. You don't have to pay any mana. So that's just a card I'll play with Braids. And now here's Life from the Loam, which will go with Strip Mine, and it dredges, so it mills cards so that you can reanimate them, which is kind of cool. I have no reanimate spells yet. And then if I don't take Life from the Loam, I could just take Botanical Sanctum. I think Loam is a little bit fancy. I just want to make sure I can cast this Oko. Iona, this is a card I could reanimate. Right now, this Entomb is kind of unplayable. So I'll just take the Iona. It's going to be good in certain matchups. It might end up being a sideboard card, but that could be okay. Same thing with Golem. I can play it against Storm. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty average. Now I just have to take the Palace Jailer, and I probably can't play it, but it's a ridiculously powerful card. Maybe I should try to go into white. Mentor is not great in my deck, though. I kind of just have Duress to go with it. So going into this pack, I'm trying to figure out if I can become a Reanimator deck, and I'm trying to get more fixing to actually figure out what secondary colors I'm playing. Right now, my mana is very awkward. I have 3 double black 2-drops. Not sure what card to take here. Just going to take the black removal spell. My deck is kind of missing that. I was looking at the Eternal Witness, though, but there's a decent chance that card tables. It's not great in the ramp decks, is the thing, so the ramp deck will probably pass it. So now Liliana the Last Hope is just a pretty solid planeswalker, and there's a Watery Grave, which will help my mana considerably. It can let me have double black on turn 2, but then cast Oko on turn 3. And then there are some Signets, which would be decent, even some on-color ones. But I like to take the lands before the Signets. Just think that they're a little bit better. They don't slow you down. They don't take up slots in your deck as much. Yeah, decks like this, you really don't want to play a Signet on turn 2 and then play like a 3-drop on turn 3. You're not getting a huge benefit when you do that. So here's Exhume and Dreamroot Cascade and Ophiomancer. I'm just going to take Ophiomancer. It's the safest pick. It is really good with Braids, and it against the creature decks, it's really good on its own. And it's like average against the control decks. Like it's 2 different creatures. It's 3 total power for 3 mana. It's actually just versatile and a strong card. Now here's another good dual land. I can take the Bayou, which I can also fetch. It's going to be hard to pass that. And then there are some decent other cards I could take, like Mesmeric Fiend. I don't want to take Wasteland. I don't want to put too many colorless lands in the deck. Strip Mine is just too powerful, though. You kind of just have to play it. Even if like you drop a spell and just play Strip Mine as the 18th land, it's in a lot of cases that's going to be worth it. Okay, Marsh Flats. That fetches both of my duels. That's also going to be really hard to pass. Imp to Turok is a pretty strong card. I would definitely like to have that in my deck. And I do need to pick up a few more playables, but Marsh Flats is a tri-land. It's so good here. I wouldn't mind picking up free white sources, because I already have 2 free white sources. So the Courtyard looks okay, but now I can just take Sylvan. This is a pretty solid card advantage spell, which my deck is missing, and it's a good 2-drop, and I have 2 fetch lands to clear the top of my library, so that's just a really strong card here. Now I have the choice. Yeah, it looks like the Reanimator thing is just not working out. I could take Makeshift Mannequin here, and then just have a super mediocre Reanimator theme in this deck with like 1 good card to reanimate, 1 way to get it into my graveyard, 1 reanimation spell. That's just not going to be very powerful, but my choice is between Assassin's Trophy and Night's Whisper. So it's either interaction or card advantage. I think we want the card advantage. That was a fairly tough pick. I don't love Assassin's Trophy just because you really can't cast it in the early game against most decks. Just giving the opponent an extra land and fixing their mana, oftentimes you're just going to lose the game if you do that. I would not mind playing Uro. It's like basically impossible to escape in this deck, but I think I'm just going to take it anyways. The rest of the pack is weak. This would be great if I had Life from the Loam. Yeah, Life from the Loam is a new card, so I haven't thought of comboing Uro with it, but yeah, I really wish I had that Loam now. That would be really cool. And now there's actually a lot of good cards here. Eternal Witness, I feel like, is just pretty good in this deck. Karn is okay. I only have 1 other artifact combo with it, so these are like similar cards. That's a tough pick. Maybe I should even take the 6-drop there. Tovolar's Huntmaster. My deck could use a big finisher. I think, yeah, I wish I had taken Huntmaster. Okay, there's an Exhume. I could splash Path to Exile. I just don't think I need to, though. Here's another kind of free white source. I might as well just take it. And now Plow Under. I actually like Plow Under. Another free white source. So I could play this Monastery Mentor if I want to. It's really not great in the deck, but I'm happy with all of the mana fixing we got for like our very awkward black deck that is splashing two other colors. Maybe I can even play Nashi in this deck. I have some good cards to bounce. Let's see, bouncing Eternal Witness, Gonti, and Thragtusk. Those are all like pretty solid plays. I definitely have to make some cuts. I'm having a hard time building this deck just because the last few playables are not clear. I was thinking of playing Crypt Breaker and Vampire Hexmage and going with a more mid-range aggro style. And I was even going to splash Mentor because the splash is almost free. I have all of these white lands. But Mentor is just not that good in the deck. It doesn't fit in the curve that well. And I think after all, I am going to fit in the Reanimate package. Maybe I should still play the Mentor because it becomes better once I add this instant and sorcery back in the deck. But I would have to cut. I'd cut like Uro. No, I feel like Uro is very good. Yeah, I'm going to keep the Uro. I'm going to avoid playing white. I want to fit in as many blue sources as I can, because if I can get 2 blue sources and 2 green sources, Entomb plus Uro becomes a combo, and it's just really strong. So even though these 8-drops look super awkward in the deck, I'll definitely sideboard them out in the Bribery matchup. But I have ways to discard them. I have Pack Rat and I have Survival. So I think that they're just like barely good enough, and I'll play them. Maybe I can take one out. Let's take out the Primus and just play the Mentor. I only need 1 card to Entomb for. So actually, I like this version of the deck. It will definitely change it a lot after sideboarding. We're going to play all these lands in the Mox. Here we are for round 1. I'll decide to play first. We're going to have to mulligan. We only need 1 more land, but we need to like hit it right away on the first draw step. So it's fine. We'll take a mulligan. I think our deck mulligans decently well. This is basically the same exact hand, so that kind of sucks. I'll go to 5. And this looks good enough to keep though. So what are we going to want to do in this scenario? I think getting rid of Survival and Nashi makes sense. And it's possible if we're up against a slow deck that cannot remove Pack Rat, it's possible we can just go all the way with turn 2 Pack Rat. But if that doesn't work, I can cast Monastery Mentor, and then maybe later I can get some card advantage off of it. So I'm just keeping the 2 cards that make card advantage, or that can win on their own. That's kind of what you want to do when you are low on resources, like we are this game. Okay, opponent put 2 cards on the top of their library with their Preordain, but I'll just play Pack Rat. Now we have Exhume, which is probably not going to be great this game, but maybe can draw into the Entomb. We're going to have to make a decision next turn which card we're going to discard. Let's see if the Pack Rat survives, first of all. Okay, we're playing against Esper, so not great for the Pack Rat plan, because they are going to have access to plenty of sweepers in these colors. I'm definitely going to play out the white land to give myself the option to use the Mentor. And this is a pretty easy decision. I'm just going to discard the Forest. Pretty low % chance I'm going to need that card this game. We did flip their Werewolf, so that's not great. But once you get 2 Pack Rats down, they really need a sweeper to answer them. But they're drawing plenty of cards, so good chance they'll have access to a sweeper. Okay, so they can call Pack Rat on that. That's pretty good. But they have flipped their werewolf back now. I think I want to attack with one rat here. If I attack with both, they can double block and kill both of my rats. I don't want that to happen. I'll just play the Mentor out now to stop the werewolf from flipping. And I'll play the land just because it is my first blue source, which there's a good chance I'm going to want that over the course of this game. And it does not look like I am activating this Pack Rat anytime soon. Now, I know 2 cards on the bottom of my library that I could shuffle back in. One of them is Survival of the Fittest, which I do not want. And the other one is Nashmi, the rat, which would be okay. Now that they play wall, though, it's looking pretty hard to get these creatures through. So it's possible I don't want to draw either of those cards on the bottom of my library, so I think I'll just take a draw step. I don't think there's that many green cards I can really draw here that I would want to play. Sylvan Library is one. I don't think taking a damage is that bad, just because my opponent's clock is really slow. And okay, I'm going to get... Oh, I forget they have the Esper Sentinel in play, so I'm going to have to pay for that. It looks like my opponent has an artifact theme with this Metal Worker. Okay, I drew Bloodchief's Thirst. Guess I want to cast that this turn. And I can get a basic swamp here, because I drew a blue source. I'm not going to worry about getting double blue for Uro at this point. Okay, which card do I want to destroy? I think I just want to destroy the Revoker. Okay, looks like they might have a response here. Yeah, they're going to counter. But I've gotten another monk token, and now my mentor has 4 power, so it can attack through the Wall of Omens. And I'll do the same attack with my rat, because it's kind of a free roll. So I have one more sorcerer in my hand. Definitely not good. It will give them a metal worker into play. But I can use it to trigger prowess. Let's see what else my opponent's going to do. They do have a lot of cheap creatures in their deck. And metal worker, so it looks like they're doing a few different things. Okay, they might kill my mentor. Oh, it exiles it. Yeah, I just realized the mentor is actually a lot better in this deck than I thought. I always forget that planeswalkers trigger mentor to make monks, because it's not instants and sorceries, it's non-creature spells. So actually mentor is like pretty great in this deck. Okay, so they have 3 blockers. I have 4 creatures. They have a planeswalker on 1. I'm pretty much going to have to kill that planeswalker. I don't see how I don't do that. Definitely getting a little bit behind. I'm going to play Gonti first. I don't think there's that much downside to doing this. There's a chance I can find something here that would help me. Okay, so I can get any of these. These all look pretty nice. The sword isn't going to help me a ton. And then Teferi can bounce the Revoker. It's not doing a ton either. Wonder which spell is better. Yeah, it might actually just be the sword. They have so many chump blockers, though. It's possible the Teferi will get better in the future, but the sword probably won't. Like, if they play a 5 or 6 drop, Teferi's going to get better. So that's what I'm going to take. I gave them more info by playing the Gonti first, but I don't think it's going to change their play that much. And yeah, if I found like Swords to Plowshares or something, maybe playing the Gonti first, I might not have gained that much by having that happen. Okay, they didn't make any blocks, which is fine. Thought maybe they would want to double block the pack rats, but they want to keep the Sentinel in play, which kind of makes sense. I'm guessing they'll have some big artifacts in their deck, maybe a Wormcoil Engine, or maybe even something bigger. Mirror Battlesphere. They've got a Signet, Metalworker. They had a tap land though, so no, they don't have 6 mana right now. But maybe they'll play something good for 5 mana. Fleet Spellbinder. Okay, so yeah, more cheap creatures. Decks like this sometimes don't have sweepers in them. That will just be good for me to keep in mind. I'm going to play out the Teferi. And the Sentinel, it's definitely not great that it's taxing me here, but seems fine anyways. And now I think I'll actually bounce, let's see, maybe I just attack first. I think I just bounce the Stowaway. Or maybe I bounce the Revoker, then they can attack me back for 1, 2, 3, 4, only 7. They can't kill me. They can't kill me next turn either way. I don't want to bounce the Spellbinder because it's going to take a card out of my hand, but maybe that's just fine. I think that's, yeah, I think I'm going to bounce the Spellbinder. The comes into play ability, it's not going to matter on a lot of the cards that I draw. I drew Sylvan, so I can just put that one down this turn. And I suppose I will. Just to get the prowess trigger. Now I can attack with everything, and I'm at 8. They cannot, they have to make some blocks here. They can't attack back and kill me at the moment, even with the Mutavault. They can attack back for 6. Maybe they have like an equipment or something. It's not going to be a haste creature. They made some blocks. I have Pack Rat in my graveyard now, which I can exhume out. But that's probably not going to be a great play. I'm most likely still kind of behind here. They can kill my Teferi with one of their 2 creatures here. But I have Sylvan Library, so it's possible I can draw something really good next turn. What would be good? Maybe one of my Planeswalkers. So they decided to kill the Teferi right away. I guess that means they don't care about looting too much. Let's see, they might wait on the card that I bounced. Okay, they have Elspeth Conquers Death to exile that. Okay. That's not the best thing I've ever seen. Entomb, wow, okay. Interesting. I can Entomb and then Exhume, and I can get out. I think I have Terastodon in my deck. I also have Thragtusk, but probably Terastodon's going to be really good. And then the question is, like, do I want to pay 4 life for this Ophiomancer? That is a interesting question. My opponents, yeah, they don't have anything good in their graveyard to get back. I also could get Uro here, but that seems a little bit weaker than the plan I currently have. I think I'm not going to take the Ophiomancer. Basically, I think my play right now, it already is going to force them to have a sweeper, and so Ophiomancer would just, it wouldn't give me anything else. It would help me make them need a sweeper even more, but I think they already need that to the maximum amount. So I'm just going to take Terastodon. You're going to get an extra blocker here, but I want to get these prowess triggers on my monks. And I'm going to lose these lands, but a lot of the good cards left in my deck cost 3. So this is actually fine. Just going to get this big army of creatures, and it's going to be hard for them to not... It's going to be hard for them to answer this unless they have a sweeper. Maybe something like Wormcoil would slow me down, but I have chances to draw into Oko that could elk that. Got a lot of options. Non-creature spells. Okay, so if I have a Planeswalker, I will not be able to cast it next turn. And then they're going to get the third act, but they still just have these kind of dorky creatures in their graveyard. And just the way that their deck seems built, I don't know, maybe they have one sweeper. It seems like they definitely don't have a ton of sweepers in their deck. Okay, nice. Yeah, they didn't have anything to stop the Terastodon. So I think I'm just going to run the deck how it is. This does not seem like the Iona matchup. This hand looks fine. We've got all the mana that we need. We have good turn 3 plays. We have survival, so that means I'll be able to tutor for Uro. So I might want to get double blue and double green if it's possible. I have Plow Under too, which is double green. So we'll see if I'm able to get double green with this hand. It's possible I can discard the Monastery Mentor for the survival, and then I will not have to get white out of my deck. Okay, my opponent went to 5. Not great for them. And okay, now we have another good turn 3 play. So we'll see which of these Planeswalkers will come down first. Okay, I guess they're going to call Pack Rat here. I don't think they saw either of these Planeswalkers. Maybe they'll guess that I have it. No, they did not try to guess. You could infer from the colors that I'm playing that I would have some of these cards. I might want to play this Mentor out. The Grist is looking fine here because it makes 1/1s that can block the Revoker. I think I like playing Grist, and then it's going to start milling stuff. Maybe I'll mill something good, and then I can get it back with the Witness. That will give me some options. But I like doing this instead of playing Mentor. This works a little bit better against removal. If they just have random creature removal and they just take out the Mentor, that's not great. And I've found a forest, so yeah, I have the double green, now I just need double blue. So yeah, I will use this. I'll definitely get blue out of this Polluted Delta. Okay, they have Tolarian Academy, which gives them 2 mana. Get Mage. Oh, Mana Vault. Yep, I saw that card earlier. They have a ton of mana now. And they have Karn. That's really good, but I can destroy that with Grist. I'll give them another land. They're kind of maxing out on mana right now. So yeah, I don't want to give them Lyris. They could force the trade on the insect token here, but they decide not to. Yeah, Grist destroys Planeswalkers, right? That's right. Sacrifice a creature. Okay. I feel like this probably has to be the best play. So I'm just going to start by destroying the Karn. And then I just have the option to play one of my spells here. I can use Survival of the Fittest also. Wrist is definitely going to get attacked down, but then I can Eternal Witness it back if I really need to. I just have a lot of options here, so it's kind of a difficult situation. I'm very close to getting Uro into play. Okay, this is kind of a tricky situation. So I could either discard this Uro or I can put into play one of my creatures. It costs double black. I don't think I want to do that. I gained the life there, which might not matter. Might have been better just to discard Uro to survival. Put the Bloodcast directly into play. But I'm trying to just draw. If I can draw another green or blue, then I can put Uro into play. I actually need to mill some more cards first, too. So I think that turn might not have been optimal. I didn't really want to put Oko down, though. I would rather keep it as a surprise. Maybe I need to elk something that they play. Survival plus Bloodcast is definitely pretty nice, though. There's a Theomancer. Don't have a great play here. I can Eternal Witness to get a land. Kind of like that. And I'll get the fetch land because I want to keep fetching. Okay, so now I can use Uro next turn, but I need more cards in my graveyard. I think Knight's Whisper is probably best here. Okay, so I'm set up for some good turns coming up, and I can block with this Witness to stay alive. But it looks like my opponent is light on action, so that means Plow Under is going to be really good. I can just keep prolonging the game. Eventually, I'll be able to do something powerful. Okay, top. That definitely makes Plow Under a bit worse. I'm going to block the Revoker here. I want to get their artifacts out of play. Ugin. Okay, yeah, that's problematic. And I've used up my Witness. So I probably can't beat that, actually. Yeah, I think I could have won this game if I sequenced it differently, so that's kind of a shame. How can I... Okay, I have Bloodchief's Thirst in my deck that can remove that, but I would need to draw into that and have some creatures. I have Terastodon, which can also remove it, but... Okay, this could be fine, but yeah, I have to start by doing the Uro thing here. I also have Exhume. Okay. Yeah, but there's the Entomb. I do not have the Exhume yet, though. Now, what do I want to do? Right now I have 6. There's a decent chance Ugin is going to -4 next turn to exile my Uro. So that means I don't really want to put any permanents onto the battlefield. And that's fine with me. But if I can cast Terastodon next turn, I could actually get out of this. My opponent does have Counterspell. in their deck, so there's a decent chance they're going to have access to that. They could attack with their Trinket Mage here. Put it in their graveyard. I imagine that they're going to -4. No, sorry, it only has to be -3. Yeah, that's what they do. So now I'm going to use Survival to discard this Bloodghast and just get the Terastodon, I believe. Dragtusk would be decent because it helps me survive. Terastodon. Okay, maybe I don't want to let them know that Terastodon's coming, but no, I just kind of have to do it this way. This is the only way that I can hit 8 mana next turn. And now I kind of want to use this Entomb to thin my deck even further. Not really going to do anything though. Is there a creature I don't want to draw? Yeah, there definitely is. I feel like I might as well use the Entomb. So, okay, I can put anything in my graveyard. What's the worst card I could possibly draw? Oh, there's definitely a lot of them here. Maybe Toxic Deluge. So I'll just take that out of my library. I've just been playing crazy long matches lately. I guess that's normal for these sorts of decks. Okay, they used their top. I guess they're going to play something else here? No, they're just playing it back. Okay, they drew it back. Okay, and I have the land. They conveniently have Counterspell up. So it's not that bad if this gets Counterspelled, though. I just go to my next turn. I still survive from the Ugin, so I'm just going to force them to have Counterspell. Do I want to use Bloodghast? I guess it's fine. Alright, that resolved. So I'm going to destroy Ugin and 2 of my lands. I feel like I don't need any more cards. So I'm going to destroy the land that can sacrifice to turn into a card. I think I have enough cards to win the game. Nashi is not going to be great here because I only have 6 life to deal with, to work with. But maybe I'll still use it at some point. Spellbinder. Okay, that can take like my Plow Under, I suppose. Maybe they're not worried about Plow Under because of the top. Okay, they took Oko. So the Spellbinder can actually race me is the thing, but can make some food. I'm going to start by bury with those 2 and then attack my opponent. Leave this elephant back. That seems okay. Or I just play Ophiomancer. This seems good. I might just play 2 creatures here. They want to keep their Teferi alive. I don't really understand why they would do that. Oh, they have this. That's pretty good. They can exile the Terastodon. But I can just Nashi that. I need to check if I played a land this turn. Not played a land. Okay, I'm just going to Nashi it. Seems good enough. This is going to... No, they're still going to gain 2 life? No, it stopped them from gaining 2 life. Now I get the trigger here. They lose their flyer. And I can just play this land. Get back the Bloodghast. Just keep adding to the board. And now I'm not in danger of getting raced by this Elite Spellbinder anymore. I could die to like a Elspeth jumping this token or something. There's some stuff that could kill me, but it seems pretty hard for me to lose here. They're drawing with the top. Okay. Guess they'll take the plow under. Take the Terastodon. Okay. It would be pretty bad if I were able to cast Terastodon next turn. And they're going to make the elephant into a 4/4, which is going to make it a pretty good blocker. And they're going to attack. I don't really understand why they did that. I have no cards in hand, so yeah, I'm going to definitely plow under. Okay, I think it's at the point where I cannot really lose the game. I'll try to play a little bit faster now. All right. Got it. Good games. Here we are for the second round. We're on the draw. This is going to be a mulligan. Just need more lands. This hand is fine. It's kind of awkward with 2 5-drops. So I think I have 2 options here. I could either put the Exhume on the bottom because it's not doing anything right now, or I could put one of the 5-drops on the bottom because they are both very slow. They're not going to do anything for quite a long time. So I think it's worth it to put back one of the 5-drops. I have the Grist plus Exhume combo that might turn out to be good. So let's just put back Plow under. It's more situational. Thragtusk is going to be better in more situations. Okay, this looks like a blue-white aggressive deck, maybe. Selfless Spirit is pretty good against Grist. So I'm going to start by playing Ophiomancer. And it instantly resolved. So now, this is a good combo with Grist too, because I can sack the Snake to use the -2. Looks like Teferi's not super effective on this board. Wonder what they're going to do with it. Bounce the Ophiomancer. Yeah, it's not. I don't get what their plan is here. They're going to trade Snake for Selfless Spirit? I mean, it's fine with me. And I'll just play the Ophiomancer again, and I'll save this fetch land for the Sylvan Library if I can. So they've effectively slowed me down a lot, but I'm up on material. But maybe if they can accelerate into something really powerful, they can use this tempo advantage that they have. Okay, now their play makes sense. They wanted to have Selfless Spirit in the graveyard. So I can play 2 spells here, which I'm pretty much going to have to do, or I could just play 1 Thragtusk. I don't have any basic islands in the deck, actually. Kind of awkward. My life total is not under attack. Oh, I don't have double green. Oh, that was... Yeah, I don't have double green. Shoot. Okay, so I cannot double spell. I wasted my fetch land. That's too bad. There are some ways this could go bad, putting this Thragtusk down, but it feels like I want to use all my mana. Okay, they use Karn plus, and I will give them a land. And they have 2 mana up. It's definitely possible that they can destroy this Thragtusk. But I'm going to attempt to just attack down the Karn. The Teferi's not doing that much until it gets to 3, so I'm just not worried about taking it off the battlefield. Okay, cool. We take down the Karn. Now I can play one of my Planeswalkers, or I can even play Sylvan Library if I want to. I think Oko makes some sense. It's the most aggressive play I can make. And right now I'm kind of dominating the board, so let's just keep pushing the aggression. Oh, they could bring back Planeswalkers, right? Okay. So they bring back the Karn, but that's okay. I still have my Bloodchief's Thirst. Now it's getting to the point where I do want to remove the Teferi. Banishing Light on the Oko. Okay, that's fine. Let's see if they have anything else. Okay, I'll just keep giving my opponent lands with the Karn plus. Tidehollow Sculler. Okay, that's going to mess up my plans a little bit. And they have double blue up, so they might have a counterspell. Bloodchief's Thirst will work very well against the Sculler. I have a hard time believing I'm not going to make this play. So I'm just going to do it before they can block. Now I get Grist back. Now I'm just going to make the same. Okay, I cannot kill the Karn here is the thing. So actually going to just see. I think it's free to play this out. I'm going to see if Grist resolves. It does resolve. I could attack first with the snake, but there's just not that much upside. I don't want some instant here to like mess up my plans. I'm going to sack the snake token, destroy the Karn. And attack the Teferi. Okay, now there's big Teferi. That's definitely pretty good. But Grist is really good at controlling Planeswalkers. And Sylvan Library is going to be really strong because I have so much life to draw cards with it. So yeah, they just conceded. So Thragtusk ended up being really good in that matchup. It looks like they're a pretty classic Esper, Planeswalkers, Sweepers style deck. So I can bring in this Vampire Hexmage because it destroys Planeswalkers. And I already have Terastodon as my anti-Planeswalker card. I like that a lot. Plow Under is not going to be amazing just because they're going to be on board with their walkers a lot. Toxic Deluge looks pretty bad. Yeah, I'm like the person that's going to have all the creatures in play. So let's take out Toxic Deluge. And then I like the Reanimator package. I like all my creatures. This looks good. The Plow Under is kind of awkward. Maybe I should put in Woodfall Primus. That card's also really awkward though. So this is just another easy mulligan. And this hand is fine. What do I want to do with this hand, though? I guess this is a Braids hand. I just want to play Braids and just try to win with that. So how is that going to work? Do I just get rid of Survival? Survival, the thing is that it can help me find one of my Braids combos. I kind of want to keep it. But it's kind of awkward because it does not directly work with Braids. I feel like this is fine, though. Yeah, this is the situation where I want to have Woodfall Primus instead of Plow Under just because I can I can discard it to survival. Dark Confidant. Okay, that's pretty strong. I can either play survival or I can play out the Voidwalker. I think this is fine. I do only have single green. Yeah, I should have got my Bayou down there because I would. It's possible I draw a green source next turn. Palace Jailer. Okay, so that gives me a good idea of what to do with my strip mine. Yeah, I really wish I got my Bayou there. This was not good. I'll just play the survival. If I don't have a creature in play, they're not going to use Palace Jailer most likely, so I'm still fine here. I might need to change my plan a little bit. Nashi, so they might just use that here. Yeah, so the way this is playing out, the Braids plan is not looking great. So what do I actually want to do? Maybe I want to discard Braids. I think that's what I'm going to do. Discard Braids and get, I guess, Vampire Hexmage would be good on the battlefield. This is a pretty awkward spot. This play is going to be soft to certain things that my opponent can do. If they have another white source, then they can just Palace Jailer this Hexmage. Or if they have any sort of interaction, they can still attack with Bob. But this is technically stopping them from ninjutsuing Nashi here, because I can just block. And there's Baneslayer. Okay, so they're taking a ton of damage from the Bob. Okay, now they're just going to Palace Jailer. That's fine, I'll let it get exiled. So this is pretty awkward. And yeah, I don't have anything to use with survival, but if I draw a creature, it's going to be pretty good. Okay, I drew actually the creature that I most wanted out of my deck. That's the perfect draw. I don't think there's anything better. Now I can Plow Under next turn, but it's actually one turn too slow. They have a land here, they can Baneslayer. There's really no way they don't have a land here. So they can play down Baneslayer, and yeah, it's going to be... Then they're going to be able to start pulling away in the life gain race. So even though they've gotten really unlucky on their Dark Confidant, they're probably going to be fine. But if they just tap out and play Baneslayer, they're going to go to 4, and then there's probably like a 10% chance that they'll die to their Dark Confidant on upkeep. So I'm just going to have to take that equity, because that's maybe the only equity I have in this game, and they're not even going to attack with Bob, which is a little sketchy, I would say. And yeah, I don't even want to Plow Under, because I want them to take the Dark Confidant damage. So yeah, now I'm just in this super awkward spot where I just think the best way for me to win is just to have them flip 5 mana to Fairy here. They might have an instant speed removal on their upkeep, but I just have... I'm down infinite on cards. I cannot win a long game under any circumstance. But yeah, their deck is actually pretty good at getting on board. Oh yeah, see, yeah, I was expecting them to have something like this. Otherwise, I think they would have attacked with their Dark Confidant. But yeah, so maybe I should have just used the Plow Under. Yeah, they have a decent amount of creatures, but they're all very reactive. Not all of them. Solitude and Palace Jailer are... Baneslayer is pretty slow. I wonder if they sided out their Planeswalkers. So let's see if this works. They do have 6 cards in hand and 3 mana up, but I guess this is hitting. So they're going to 6. And I need to hit something like, I don't know, if I hit Path to Exile off their library with Nashi, that's going to be really good. Okay, I got my Hex Mage back too, because I just became the Monarch. So now I can play one of these spells by paying life. But if I do that, I'm dead on board to Baneslayer Angel, so I don't think I'm going to do that. So it's going to be hard to erase this Baneslayer, but it might technically be possible. It would be real nice if I had a Chupacabra in my deck. Because I could fetch it out with Survival of the Fittest. Yeah, I wish I had access to that. They're going to bounce that. But I have 8 life here. Oh, no, they have not Nashi, which they're going to ninjutsu into play, and then I'm going to be dead. Okay, I actually forgot about that. But my real way to win this game was to hit removal off of Nashi when I attacked them. So I still am happy with the play I made. So yeah, I don't have the removal. So pretty awkward. They have some creatures, but they also have a lot of planeswalkers. The Baneslayer is a legitimate problem. I have these 2 planeswalkers that can kill it. That's mostly all I have that can kill it. And yeah, the Plow Under is looking awkward. I'm just going to keep the deck how it is. I think it's fine. No black mana. Yeah, I have to mulligan. This hand is pretty awkward, but I'm not going to mulligan. I have 3 double black cards. I'll put the Plow Under on bottom. All of these cards could possibly be good this game. If I can hit a swamp here, I think I have a decent chance in the game. I think I want to play out the Mox. Yeah, pretty awkward if Nashi was... It would be real nice if I could play that down. Disenchant. Okay, so kind of got punished there. It's always a tough decision whether or not to play that out. Okay, so I can either Hex Mage or Nashi here. It's probably better to just Hex Mage. Kind of interesting. If I play Nashi, they have so many ways to deal with it. So I don't want to let them know it's coming. This is actually a game where Nashi could be really good, because the board is very clear, my life total is very high, and I'm on the play, so I have the tempo advantage. Also, just slamming Braids next turn could be a legitimate thing to do. Okay, that is too bad. So I can play down Braids. Then I can return it with Nashi. I don't know, this seems good to me. It's guaranteed to get one of their lands, and I'm at the point where I have extra lands, so I'm okay sacrificing one. And if they just answer the Braids now, that's kind of fine. Teferi to bounce Braids is not going to be a great play, so they don't make the play. Okay. Now, which one do I want to sacrifice? Not one of the black ones. Okay, I drew another land. pretty interesting. I want to keep Braids in play, actually. This is kind of sick, but I want to get the Nashi trigger, too. Yeah, if I drew an actual spell I could cast here, that would be nice. And then I would probably just leave the Braids in play. I think, yeah, this is super awkward. I'm gonna just attack the Teferi, and now do I just play down the Nashi? I think I do. I don't love playing it here. But just attacking my opponent's lands is so good. Now I think I'll get rid of the silent clearing. Yeah. So I can trade Braids for Selfless Spirit, or I can trade one of my lands for Selfless Spirit. I think I'll just trade one of my lands for it. I'm drawing plenty of lands, so let's just keep this Braids game going. This is going to be bad if they have Wrath of God. But they're going to need to have Plains plus Wrath of God. It's not that likely they have it. Oh, they had Solitude. Wow, they decided to exile the Nashi. I'm very surprised by that. And they're at... What do they have here? Sacrifice land again. Okay, so now I want to sacrifice the blue-white land. Drew Uro. Okay, yeah, I was thinking of that, but I'm fairly confused by what's going on my opponent's side, but I'm not going to attack just in case they have Condemn. I feel like if I just take out all their lands, they're pretty screwed this game. Okay, there we go. So that was a classic Braids game, even though we didn't have any of the actual combos with it. Just getting out our cheap permanents was good enough. And that kind of just shows how good it is against a deck filled with Baneslayer, Angel, 5-mana Teferi, stuff like that. Okay, we're 2-0 with this deck. Here we are in the final round, and we're on the play. We're going to keep as well. This is definitely the best hand we've had so far with this deck. Turn 1 Duress, we have all colors of mana, and we have Uro on turn 3. Opponent has gone to 6. I could wait till turn 2 to Duress, but it's probably not going to be correct in this format very often. In Legacy Cube, I think you would do that a decent amount of the time. Okay, we're playing against mono white. Have Wasteland, so yeah, this is really good to know. They're going to play their aggressive creature first. I think that makes sense. Now I'm going to want to not play into this Wasteland. And this, I'm just going to cast this on curve. The most important thing about this matchup is just conserving your life total. If you get to the late game against the monocolor decks, generally you win. Okay, they drew a land for the turn. And an Intrepid Adversary. Okay, I'm probably going to have to bring in some more basics for this matchup. Because, yeah, my mana base is pretty sketchy. Highlander is going to be terrible in this matchup. It's been pretty bad in general. But I'm happy to draw the second green mana there. They play out their Giver of Runes. Okay, they're just going to let us play something, so pretty interesting situation. I need to play one of my 5 drops. I think Plow Under makes more sense. If I do this, now they're really priced out of using this Wasteland. They're not going to be able to use it for some time. No, they did decide to use it. I mean, yeah, that just makes no sense for them to wait until my turn. We found Grist, but we also have Gonti. And if I play Gonti, I can take a Plains off the top of their library, which is probably fine. I think this is the better play anyways. So what is good here? Probably Flicker Wisp, because it's amazing on Thragtusk. It looks like we have the tools to play a mid-range game here, so I'm not going to block. They're gaining a ton of life. Flicker Wisp. I do want to wait on the Flicker Wisp. Or I could put it on the Gonti. Actually, I think it's just good enough to use this on the Gonti. I don't need to Flicker Thragtusk. Playing it once is good enough. And doing this now, I have 2 different colors of creature in play. So that means I can block now. Now I get Jite, which is basically unbeatable against creature decks. Okay, they decide not to attack. I'll just play the Jite. And that's gonna be game. Okay. Sweet. So that draw just worked out perfectly. I mean, we took their Soul Ring, turned 1. Yeah, that was just a perfect draw. Their deck looks pretty great. I'm going to, let's see, I can start, I want to change my deck a little bit. I have to bring in some creatures, like Vampire Hexmage is going to be pretty good. Terastodon's most likely going to be too slow. I want to bring in a basic island, and maybe I can just take out Strip Mine. Because generally, Strip Mine is good when you get the tempo advantage, and basically I'm going to be on the draw, so I'm already at a tempo disadvantage, and my opponent's playing a deck that's way faster than mine. So it's like 5% of games I'll ever get a tempo advantage against mono white. So this card is just going to be a colorless land most of the time. So let's turn it into an island. Eureka is actually good in this matchup. Like, if you get really desperate, you can just play Eureka plus these 8 drops, and that can be enough to just combo them out. But I don't think we're that desperate though. I think my deck's set up pretty solidly actually. I have a Wrath. We haven't played against a creature deck yet. So yeah, I really like the deck. The only thing is this Terastodon is just so hard to cast. I mean, what could I put in? I could put in Crypt Breaker. Yeah, let's just do that. And now my whole Entomb thing is kind of bad. Tomb Exhume is kind of bad. That's the only issue with doing this. Braids is also kind of bad against this deck. So is Bloodghast because it cannot block. So maybe I just take out Braids package. Yeah, Braids is actually fine, but it's not like a combo card. It's just I just play it on 4, then they have to sacrifice a permanent, and then I just block with the Braids. That's like, there's worse things than doing that. This hand is fine. It's a little bit weak against Wasteland. Okay, they decided to play around removal here and just play out a creature. So I have some options. I can either play Dothy Voidwalker or Sylvan Library. It's a pretty tough spot, actually, because there are some situations where I will want to use Grist -2 next turn, maybe to destroy a Planeswalker. But I really want to get the Sylvan down so I can keep making land drops for the whole game. And basically, probably like 80% of the time, I'm going to want to play Ophiomancer next turn. It's just like ridiculous in the matchup and on this board. Okay, so now we're not going to have that option. Okay, Blood Chief's Thirst. That's going to be hard to pass up on here. I'll just put on top. Put on top. Yeah, we're not using our mana efficiently, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Dauthi Voidwalker has Shadow, so it can't block. Just going to try to preserve the life total. They don't have anything on 3, which is kind of surprising. Ophiomancer and Grist are both good here. Just given the fact they have mana up, I'm going to use Grist. Because especially if they have instant speed removal, I don't want them to just remove my Ophiomancer before I get the snake. Okay, yeah, Containment Priest. I probably could have seen that coming. Lodestone Golem. Okay. No attacks. They're at least going to attack with the 2/2. Hopefully I can find a land here. Okay, I find a land and a Mox Sapphire. Night's Whisper is not going to be something we're going to be using, most likely. So I should probably just shuffle it away. That seems fine. I'm going to take 1 damage, but I would say that's acceptable. Now I can get Island. I can either get blue or black mana. I don't really think I can afford to get the Hallowed Fountain. I'll just get the Island. And yeah, this is just the time to play Ophiomancer. Keep plussing the Grist. Hopefully we can get the Grist to survive. But yeah, as long as we get this Snake trigger, this is really going to stop them from attacking. Oh wow, they have big mana in their deck. They might have like Sun Titan or 6 mana Elspeth. Okay, so they've dealt with our token, but that's okay. Elspeth Conquers Death. It will let them get a creature back. Maybe I want to just put down Dauthi Voidwalker here. I guess I just want neither of those actual spells. Played Nashi. Probably a low % chance it gets through, though. So I kind of like just doing... Now I exile this Lodestone Golem, but I can't get it back. Then next turn I can use Braids, which could be a little risky. They might have something that makes tokens. So I might not be doing that. Okay, they might have another instant here. Cannot cast this Witness, but if I ever can cast it, it's going to be good. Okay, so I just kind of messed up. Okay, no, that's fine. I need to put the cards on top in the right order so I can mill them with Grist. Oh, I can get... Yeah, okay, so I can do this. I'm going to play the Witness, and then bring back... I think bringing back Thragtusk seems kind of good. Okay, they did have the Resto, so yeah, they're going to be racing me here. I guess they're going to kill Grist. I think they're going to get Student of Warfare here. No, they're gonna get this. Okay, this is pretty good. Copter. Okay, so these flyers are really good against what I'm doing. Let's see if they just attack me. I know that can't be right. They have to attack Grist here. No. Okay, I feel like this is not the right play. Okay, so I get Exhume. Could be fine. Let's... So I can use Grist to destroy Restoration Angel. Now I think I just attack with Nashi. Although, yeah, this is going to exile the Terastodon. I don't want to exile Terastodon. Okay, I kind of forgot that they could do this, but this is fine because I have Hex Mage. And I can just do this. Move all the counters. Now the Copter's dead. Now play the Crypt Breaker so I don't die to removal. So we were able to answer both of their flyers, but we'll see. I mean, it's a precarious situation still. Okay, I'm just going to try to survive with this Thragtusk. They draw GT. Okay, yeah, this might be getting to the point where I'm in too much trouble to come back. Because this Gideon, you also can't kill this card. It's indestructible. Yeah, also Exhume is just not great in this deck. Definitely an issue. Just given that it brings my opponent a creature back, so it's bad in the late game. It's getting to... I can almost cast Rastodon next turn. Maybe that will be good enough to win. I think I have to, like, actually hard cast it. But yeah, I feel like I'm probably too far behind now. I can take the 4 from this Gideon and then keep my Beast token. Yeah, I think I'm just a little bit too far behind. I need to find a land on the top of my library right now. Untapped land. Okay, we find it. Oh, I actually have to pay 4 too. Okay, so this was... Yeah, I could have maybe put one of these into my hand earlier in the game. Then I wouldn't have had to pay 4 there. Destroy Gideon. Destroy, and I have to destroy 2 of my things, I believe. Forest. Swamp. Maybe I can survive here. I find Uro. Uro is like the one card that can bring me back from this. The thing is that this Jite, let's see, it can give +8/+8 right now. So let's see if they move it over to their elephant. That might be a good play for them. Oh no, they drew Path to Exile. Okay, I think I'm dead now. Okay, that was good enough to win. Close game. I actually had a chance to come back there. Wow. So yeah, this is the matchup where I wish I had more interaction, but I just don't have access to that. It's possible I could have won that last game if I played different in the first like 4 turns with my Toxic Deluge. Okay, game 3. This is going to be the last game. This hand is kind of slow, but I think I can make it work being on the play. It's definitely a slow hand. And it's kind of expensive in terms of life. Okay, I draw the Exhume. That's very interesting. Get the Bayou, no matter what here. Now, I can either Sylvan Library. I think Survival is good enough here. If I draw Terastodon next turn, I can Exhume it. If not, I can set myself up to draw some good creatures. There's Hexmage, which is very good on this board. Now, yeah, that was a good draw. So I can just play the Hexmage and use Survival at instant speed, and I can set up Terastodon if I want to. So really the question is, like, do I want to set up Terastodon Exhume? I think the answer is yes. So yeah, I can take 3 here. That's fine. I don't want to put a creature in their graveyard because Exhume is going to bring it right back. They're going to have a hard time playing a Planeswalker here. Okay. They have 2 white mana up. So what's the best creature that I'm going to want after putting Terastodon into play? Probably, there's so many good ones is the thing, but probably Ophiomancer. It's kind of sketchy. But basically I'm going to destroy one of their lands, or maybe 2. Let's see. Destroy the Silent Clearing. Yeah, I don't need white mana. Now, what if I just destroy the Survival of the Fittest? I'm actually afraid of getting tempoed out by my opponent. Like, let's say that they have Path to Exile here, and I give them 2 elephants. It's not the worst thing in the world. I think I can survive if they have Path to Exile. It looks like they do. Oh, okay, they're using that. If they don't have removal, I'm happy with this play. But even if they do, Ophiomancer is going to stop the elephants very quickly. Okay, yeah, they have no attacks. Great. Now I can attack with Terastodon, trade it for some of their cards. I think that's fine. I want to force the action here. If I trade for 3 of their creatures, I'm okay with that. Maybe they just take the hit. So yeah, this could turn out awkward again if they have removal for Ophiomancer now. But it looks like they don't, so I have a feeling it's still going to be hard for them to have good attacks here. Okay, they're bringing them all in. So we're just going to trade with what we can, and I'm going to force them to use their mana. If they want to transform this thing, they're going to have to use their mana. Okay, now they're forced to chump my Terastodon here. Yeah, they're forced to chump this for the rest of the game. And I have Bloodchief's Thirst. And yeah, that was it. Okay. Yeah, really happy that, I think that was the only game that we used Exhume, but kind of showed why that package was in the deck. Even though it's a little bit janky, it does have the possibility to win a game all by itself. And even when you don't use it, you can hardcast the Terastodon. Anyways, thank you again for watching, and see you next time.